So about to hike out of Damascus. Took a zero, friend's lake house. It's a great relaxing time. Get the legs back, get a little bit of a cure on the poison ivy. Trampoline's up ahead. Haven't been doing a lot of filming because working with the group is tough.
You got this.
Okay. Good morning. No idea what day it is as far as the actual date or how long I've been on trail, but it is a Friday. So for my friends in Mexico and other places of the world, it's viernes y el cuerpo lo sabe. So it's a perfect day. Have about 19.1 miles to the shelter that we'll be staying at. We'll be able to look off of the back of the shelter to see Mount Rogers, and it stages us perfectly to get into the Grayson Highlands on Saturday to see the Ponies. And because it's a Saturday, we expect that it'll also be populated with day hikers, which are always fun because day hikers smell tremendous. We don't, but it's an opportunity to smell what civilization is like. I haven't had a lot of opportunity to film. I tried a little bit yesterday, but it didn't work out. Turned into, even though it was a short day, a difficult one. Just because we lost part of our group and weren't sure what happened to them. We knew they were ahead of us. We beat feet to catch them. Caught another hiker that we knew and learned that they hadn't passed them. So we knew they were off trail somewhere. And they did get lost a little bit. Not much, but had an opportunity to play in the river, which was nice. Cool off a little bit. Spider webs. The only problem with mornings being first one on the trail. Someday I'll learn not to do that. Maybe. I'm about 3 weeks in, I think. Maybe a little more. I'm more than halfway, so a little more than 250 miles. And realized that because I haven't really done any filming since the first week, all you've seen are problems. So the first week is pretty ripe with problems. They're not big problems, but they feel big at the time, of course, just like in our daily lives. And yeah, spider webs. Need to, it's time to express some gratitude on film. I've been doing it in the, alone and with others, but not really on film, so you can see what it looks like as far as what we are happy for. So I caught poison ivy last week or so, and have pretty bad reactions to it. Did make it into the hospital to get a shot to get me through a couple days, and then had the pleasure of taking a zero in Damascus after doing the Damascus marathon. During that time, was able to meet a doctor who was able to prescribe me oral steroids to take care of it. And now I feel tremendous. So I want to say thank you, Heather. You've made what could be a miserable trial of a trip into something that's much more tolerable. Spider webs. I met a great group of people to hike with. Yes, I'm hiking alone, but what we're really best at is gathering at the end of the day and exchanging small stories and just enjoying each other's company over dinner and things like that. I do enjoy hiking alone, but later in the day when it starts to warm up, it's nice to have a group to be with, keep you motivated and moving along. I think the reason I like to hike alone is I can hike my own pace. One of the things on the trail is hike your own hike, which means do what's right for you. You're responsible for yourself, take care of yourself, that sort of thing. But what I'm realizing is that I probably need to do that more. No, not do that more, but do that less in real life, especially around my work-related activities. That I need to realize that not everybody wants to move as fast or as slow as I do. That they have their own pace, and I'm not paid to force them to match my pace. It's my job to help them at their pace. So we'll see how that works out, see if I can remember that in the future. I've had a couple shuttle drivers that these are people that will come out to the trail to bring you into a town to get resupply or to a hostel for a shower and laundry, for which you have to remain very grateful for. Sure, it's kind of their job, but they really do it out of the goodness of their heart. You know, it's not easy, probably. You know, at a moment's notice, get a phone call and say, yeah, I'll meet you at some random gap in the middle of forest woods and drive you in, and be positive and fair and all of those things. You know, especially now that the main group has gone by. Now it's very sporadic. So, but to Kate and the others, thank you very much for all of the help you provided us. You know, myself and others over these years, especially over this trip. For me, I do appreciate that. I really appreciate the friendship of the people that I've met on the trail. So, Llama, Nemo, Morgan, Rickshaw Pinball, Ninja Bear, Tristan, I can't remember your trail name right now, I apologize for that. Of course, Heather. You guys have made a trip that could have been very much a trial, very enjoyable. So, you know, as we go through this trip, first week is always finding all of those difficulties that, you know, you've forgotten about. Getting the trail legs, so working through pain every day. Getting up in the morning and having each muscle and tendon say, no, you don't want to do this, and reminding them that that's what you signed up for and that's what we're here for. Then connecting with this group during the second week as we started to develop miles. You know, get our legs in, get routines in, get used to each other, how we hike, what our personalities are, that sort of thing. You know, it's been a really, really good time. Minus the spider webs, of course. But even the spider webs don't really bother me now that I know there's not spiders in them. I've learned that they just use them for transportation in the night to get from one tree to the other. It'd be nice if they cleaned up after themselves, but that's what we're here for. As far as wildlife, I've seen a lot of wildlife. Of course, the exciting stuff, the bears and the rattlesnakes. Haven't seen a lot, very, very few. A couple rattlesnakes. The bears are less prevalent now that the large group, you know, what we call the bubble of hikers, is gone. So the bears are back to doing what bears do. Now that they don't have people bringing in puzzle boxes worth of food for them every night. Other interesting things, you know, accidentally snuck up on a coyote. Of course, I was upwind from him, so couldn't smell me, which is surprising. And then he was beautiful. Of course, we've seen raccoons and mice, a lot of mice. They're cute as can be. They're, I don't know what kind of mice they are. I'd call them field mice or woods mice, but yeah, they're big ears and little round bodies, kind of like hamsters more than anything else. And they enjoy visiting you in the shelters, looking for little scraps of food. Do your best not to feed them, but there's always a crumb that falls and they're always there to pick it up. The spiders, of course, there's some really cool spiders out here. Not probably wildlife, but the fungus, the different mushrooms are insane, ranging from the edible, chicken of the woods, to ones that are certainly definitely not edible, but definitely beautiful. All that sort of thing. It's all out here, just waiting for us to come and see it. Just takes a little bit of effort. And I spent a lot of time yesterday thinking about things that I've learned on the trail. What I'm here, what I thought I was here for, what I'm really here for. And when I really came out for the challenge, the difficulty to experience what life is like for people who, in the sense, work very, very hard for a living, who work doing things that they don't necessarily want to do every day. It's not that I don't want to be out here to hike, but do I want to hike 20 miles today? Now I do, but in the first couple of days, 20 miles was a big difficulty, really big difficulty. All right, so we're along the Virginia Creeper Trail. Let me fix the tripod a little bit. It is another perfect day. Oh, look, check that out. The poison ivy's going away. Better living through chemicals sometimes. So we're on the Virginia Creeper Trail, which it's a 17-mile run north of Damascus. I believe another 17 going south as well. So it's an old railway bed running along. I believe this is the Laurel River. It's a beautiful sound to listen to. I'd like to camp here if I had time, just to sit and listen to the water, put my feet in it, maybe take a dunk, try to get some of the stench off. But I have no idea how far we're going to walk along this before we cross. I have to be very careful not to miss the trail, do what my buddies did yesterday. But it's turning into a perfect day. It's going to be warm. It's going to be pretty hot, in the 90s. And it's likely to be humid. We're due for a thunderstorm today sometime later in the afternoon. I'm actually looking forward to that, as long as it's not too severe. The rain cools me and I can move much quicker. Yes, on the pole there you can see there's a white blaze, so you know that we're still on the trail. I don't know if you can see that yet. But the other night we had one heck of a storm come through, very, very severe. The radar showed yellows, reds, and oranges. Not sure which one of it's worse, but it was pretty intense. Closest lightning strike was maybe a mile away. It might have been closer, but it was one of those flash booms. And fortunately, we only had one of those. It was a very fast-moving storm that had a lot of wind and rain with it that kind of beat us up a little bit in the tents. But was able to stay dry and keep my wits, just ride it out, hunker down. And then the next day was when the Damascus Marathon was going to happen, or did happen. It's not an official event. It's a 26.2 mile run from the not the last shelter, but from a shelter down into Damascus. And it's on the maps it looks primarily downhill, but when you're doing it, it feels like it's all uphill, of course. But we got a late start. Normally, I'd like to start something like that about 7 a.m. normal time, before the sun comes up and it gets hot. Which direction are we going here? Appalachian Trail, no, accessible trail. And there's another blaze on the Virginia Creeper. Okay, and there's one as well. That means we're still on trail. But it's supposed to be downhill, but nothing ever feels downhill when you're doing it. So we got a late start. We did it in 9.5 hours, and primarily because Ninja Bear, 12-year-old real-life American Ninja Warrior competitor, let us the entire way down into Damascus. He was on a mission, and we kind of had to stay with him because you can't leave a 12-year-old alone out here. Although he's probably more than capable. It's amazing some of the things he could do, the things he knows about the hiking and bushcraft and things like that. But so he dragged us along on a string all the way in. I knew we'd be able to make it. I mean, it's just putting one foot in front of the other a whole bunch of times. But I really thought we'd run out of steam at about 16.9 miles at the pace we were doing, about 3 miles an hour. But we pretty much held that pace with, we stopped once to pick up water, did a 13 or something mile carry of water. That was pretty heavy, but it was worth it. And I stopped once to change clothes, change out of wet clothes into dry ones, especially socks, which was nice after walking through the wet grass all morning. But it was a good time. Looking back, one of those type 2 funs. You know, didn't seem great at the time. But looking back, it's an accomplishment that I recognize that, you know, really no one else will care about. But it's just something that the 3 of us can look back on and say, you know, remember that time. And I'm looking forward to doing that with them in the future. Story time with Dale. Anyway, that's just beautiful down there. It's turning into another perfect day. Actually, it started as a perfect day, but I mean, it's just getting better and better. Sun's dappling through. Yeah, it's gonna be hot. Yeah, it's gonna be humid, but that's what weather is. And looking forward to the day. See you a little bit later. All right, so the team's coming up behind. This is how we know who we are. I don't know if you could see them in the distance, but we'll call out and they'll call back. Da-da-da-da! Da-da-da-da! Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da! So we have Ninja Bear, we've got Rickshaw Pinball, and Llama coming in. We'll walk back and do a quick introduction. So first 2 people in the line are the Damascus Marathon finishers. Our leader, Ninja Bear, our adult in the group. And we have Llama, who
Hola.
I've become especially close to as we become accustomed to each other's eccentricities. So it's good to have people to walk with now.
So cute one. For your hinge.
Like a baby.
Hey, do you like that? Oh my gosh, the baby. Oh, so good.
This is my last shot of the group together. Unfortunately, a few people needed to get off trail to go back to the real worlds. We'll miss your smiles, Nemo and Morgan. And of course, Llama, we're going to miss your grumpiness. Fart on, brother. Rickshaw, Ninja Bear, and I still had about half a day to go before we'd sleep. So we continued along, got to see a whole bunch of really cool things along the way. One of the highlights, of course, being the high points and eventually running across this 500-mile mark. This is, again, a huge highlight of every bit of the trip. It's surprising how you can go from these high points down into the valleys to see the creeks like these, the streams that are flowing water, and somewhere in there there's fish, and Ninja Bear will be throwing a line to catch one, I'm sure. Soon after leaving the Grayson Highlands, we were back in the wilderness. This is Ninja Bear burritoed up for the night. It's still early, but he was exhausted. The sun's just setting, so it's about 8:30, and we're making dinner. If you've made it this far into the video, which I doubt, could you go down in the comments and leave me a message that says you made it to the end? I really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe before you go. It's important to the growth of the channel. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.